Have you ever noticed that the longer a man is single, the less he chases, and the more the world seems to chase him? Not just women, opportunities, respect, the subtle nod from other men in the room, the invitations that come without you asking, the way conversations change when you walk in, not because you're loud, but because you've mastered the art of being still. It's a strange phenomenon, but it's real. And if you've ever wondered why that happens, and more importantly, how to use it to your advantage, then stay right here. Because in this video, we're going to dive deep into what Marcus Aurelius himself could have taught you about this shift, about why solitude isn't weakness, and how to turn the single years into the most powerful training ground of your life. But first, if you're new here, welcome to the Untroubled Stone. This is where we blend timeless, Stoic wisdom with modern masculinity, helping you become the man who doesn't just get chosen but chooses. So hit that subscribe button, like this video, and watch all the way until the end, because what we're about to cover could change your entire approach to relationships and life itself. Now, let's begin. The story before the lessons. Rome 170 AD, Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher emperor, sits in a war tent on the northern frontier. Outside, the wind cuts across the Danube, carrying the smell of wood smoke and wet earth. He's been away from Rome for months, surrounded not by marble columns and silken bedsheets, but by soldiers' mud and silence. And yet, in his writings from this time, we don't find bitterness. We find strength. We find clarity. We find a man who understands that being without is sometimes the fastest path to becoming more. Most men today can't see this. They think being single means being incomplete. They mistake a quiet house for a lonely life. They rush, desperate to fill every silence with noise, every gap with someone's attention. Marcus would say otherwise. He would say, look well into yourself. There is a source of strength which will always spring up if you will always look. And that's exactly why the longer a man is single, the more he grows into the kind of man who is wanted, but never needy, desired, but never desperate. In this video, we're going to explore 10 Marcus Aurelius-inspired suggestions for transforming your single years into a forge for your character, your value, and your peace. But before we jump into the list, understand this. These aren't just tips or life hacks. They're philosophies. Each one builds upon the other. And by the end, you'll see why staying single longer doesn't shrink your value. It compounds it. 1. Learn to stand alone and enjoy it. Marcus wrote, "Nowhere can man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul." When you first become single, there's an itch, a discomfort. That silence in the room feels like it's pressing against your skin. You want to distract yourself, call someone, scroll endlessly, drown out the emptiness. But here's the secret. That discomfort is your training ground. Every moment you resist filling it with noise, you're building the muscle of solitude. A man who enjoys his own company doesn't beg for anyone else's. And ironically, that makes others want to be around him more, because people can sense when you want them versus when you need them. 2. Master your daily discipline. In Rome, discipline was more than a military virtue. It was a way of life. Marcus Aurelius wasn't just leading battles. He was leading himself. Being single gives you the rarest resource in the modern world, undivided time. If you waste it, you'll regret it. If you harness it, you'll transform. Wake up early. Train your body. Train your mind. Build a skill. Study something deeply. Every time you choose discipline over distraction, you're stacking silent proof that you are a man of control, and that control is magnetic. 3. Remove the need to impress. Marcus understood the trap of reputation. He wrote, "It never ceases to amaze me. We all love ourselves more than other people, but care more about their opinion than our own." When you're single, it's tempting to perform for attention, to dress, speak, and act for approval rather than authenticity. But the longer you remain unattached, the more you have the chance to break this habit. Stop dressing to be noticed. Dress to respect yourself. Stop speaking to be liked. Speak to be understood. The moment you stop performing, you step into real confidence, the kind that needs no applause. 4. Build a fortress around your mind. The single man's greatest threat isn't loneliness. It's a distraction. Without someone anchoring your focus, your mind will try to scatter itself into every temptation. Cheap dopamine, endless scrolling, shallow conversations. Marcus's own mental fortress was built on philosophy. He read, reflected, and wrote daily. You must do the same. Feed your mind intentionally, or it will feed itself on junk. Guard what you consume. Guard who you let into your thoughts. Over time, this mental clarity becomes rare, and rarity is valued. 5. Control your desires before they control you. One of Marcus's most underrated teachings is about desire. He warns that we often become slaves to what we crave. For the single man, this is where most fail. They think freedom means indulgence, not casual flings, endless pursuit of pleasure. But that constant chasing weakens you. It keeps you dependent on external highs. Practice restraint. Choose when to indulge and when to abstain. The man who doesn't need every pleasure is the man who can't be controlled by any. 6. Invest in physical excellence. Marcus Aurelius valued the unity of body and mind. A disciplined mind inside a neglected body is like a sword left to rust. Use your single years to build a body that reflects your discipline. Not for vanity, but for strength, endurance, and self-respect. The world treats you differently when you carry yourself like a man who trains. And again, the irony appears. The man who builds his body for himself, not for attention, will get more attention than the man who trains purely for show. 7. Build your empire quietly. In his reign, Marcus was constantly strengthening Rome's infrastructure, roads, laws, defenses. He understood that a kingdom stands on preparation, not display. Your single years are the same. This is the time to increase your income, deepen your skills, and lay the foundations for financial independence. Don't broadcast your every move. Let your results speak years later. The longer you're single while building, the more your value multiplies. And when you choose to share your life, you'll do so from abundance, not scarcity. 8. Select company with surgical precision. Marcus wrote, "The things you think about determine the quality of your mind. Your soul takes on the color of your thoughts. Being single gives you the power to choose your company without compromise. Don't waste it. Avoid gossip, avoid constant complainers, avoid those who pull you toward smallness. Surround yourself with builders, learners, and doers. When you finally decide to let someone close, whether in friendship or romance, make sure they strengthen your frame, not weaken it. 9. Accept the passing of time without panic. The longer a man is single, the more the world tries to pressure him. You're getting older. Aren't you worried? Marcus would laugh at this. He understood that life's worth isn't measured in matching timelines, but in living with virtue and presence. Your single years aren't a countdown. They're a chapter, and if you leave them with intention, they're the chapter that shapes all the rest. 10. Choose from strength, not need. Finally, and perhaps most importantly, Marcus Aurelius's life reminds us that real choice comes from abundance. When you've mastered solitude, discipline, self-respect, and purpose, you're not looking for someone to complete. You're looking for someone to complement you. That's a world of difference. And here's the twist. This is why the longer a man is single, the more sought after he becomes. He radiates choice. He moves with calm. He doesn't chase, and in not chasing, he becomes the chase. Closing thought. If Marcus Aurelius were here today, he'd tell you this. Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. Your single years are not a waiting room. They are the gym, the library, the battlefield where you forge yourself into something unshakable. When you finally choose to let someone into that fortress, it will be because you want to, not because you have to. And with that said, thanks for watching, and until next time.